Yo, what's up, people? Peek out here in Singapore, and it's really late. It is, it's 2 o'clock, y'all, in the morning. Technically, it's Sunday morning already, and I'm kind of wide awake, which is weird because I've been kind of lazy all day. Been fighting this fever, because baby girl very happily brought home whatever she was sick with and happily passed it to me. So this is what happens. This is motherhood at its finest. You nurse your child back to health, and then once they're healthy, you kind of fall sick because you've been holding it for so long. Anyway, took my meds, had to eat before that because I wanted to line my stomach before I took these meds. They normally knock me out, but for some reason I'm wide awake right now. So I figured I'd knock all of my work out a little bit. And tonight I want to talk to you about Brules and goals. And you're probably wondering, what the hell do you mean by Brules? If any of you know, I am a Mind Valley fan, which means Vishen Lakhiani is one of those people that I follow, and so is Ajit Nawalkha. So I've been reading the coaching book that Ajit actually recently published, and in it he's actually sourcing some information or giving a shout out to Vishen Lakhiani and his book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. Now, there's a term that Vishen actually refers to as Brules, which stands for bullshit rules, and it's something that I really believe in. I am more and more a big fan of the idea that the things that we think about, the values that we're brought up with, the rules that we're given as kids become the basis of our beliefs, and then our beliefs kind of help us create a structure for our lives so that we live within those beliefs. But a lot of those beliefs, a lot of those rules, they're bullshit. It's like the blind leading the blind. It's almost like, the way I was taught to go pray in the temple. You go here, you go circle this way, and you go 3 times that way, and, you do these movements in front of this statue, and that's just the way it is. And if I ask my mom why, she'd be like, nope, that's just the way it's been done, so I should just follow suit. And cool, okay, that maybe works for all of you guys, but I personally am one of those people who likes to question everything, so I kind of want to know why. I kind of want to know if there's like a scientific, medical, Ayurveda reason, something behind the things that we do. Because I would like to be able to justify it to my kids at some point instead of saying, nope, that's the way it is, just do it. It's not good enough for me. I want to know more. So when the first time I read the term Brules, it was when I was reading The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, and that was several years ago. But reading the book of coaching by Ajit Nawalkha, I read the chapter on Vision basically, and I was like, wow, yeah, Brules again, and it's popping up more and more in my work as well because you do what you know, and a lot of what you know has been given to you. You didn't earn it, you didn't discover it, you didn't, create it for yourself. And a lot of it's been given to you by your parents or your peers or your teachers or somebody along the way when you were younger and didn't know any better. So just like, the patch theory about, how babies are born, somebody gave that to someone else, right? Somebody, fed that story to someone, and then they decided that that was the truth and they were going to believe that, and the rest of their life includes that belief. So the rules they live their life include that belief. Same thing as I think I heard a story one time that you plant, what was it? You plant pumpkin seeds in someone's stomach and they have a baby after. And I'm thinking, really? Okay, cool, right? And then the storks, all of that. Disney and Pixar have been really great about that too. So storks don't deliver babies, obviously, and pumpkin seeds have nothing to do with conceiving. And yeah, the Cabbage Patch, it's pretty damn cool, but yeah, furthest thing from the truth. But all these things affect our judgment in some way, shape, or form. Another example is weddings. Oh my God, weddings. So in my family, watch a lot of Tamil movies. So Hollywood is big in our family, and I didn't realize just how much we take from the things we see over and over again until I really started looking, like stepping back from it a little bit, instead of just enjoying the fight scenes, outside of the glass quota and all of the dress changes and, in one song sequence or whatever. I started looking at the dynamic between man and woman, in the movie. In every movie, there's a love story. And at some point, the heroine is going to be in trouble and the guy got to, stand up and show he's a man and fight for her and all that stuff. But at some point, usually in that movie, the man chases the girl and the girl rejects, 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 rejects. And then all of a sudden, when he stops running after her, is when she will fall for him because she misses the attention, and then, he's won. And I didn't realize how deeply that goes into a lot of the guys around me and their psyche, but they really think it's cool to chase people down and pursue, like idiotically pursue. Now, for some people, you hear about, situations in India where men get rejected by a woman and they get upset, like their ego is super, super bruised, and they decide to go after the girl with acid. So if I can't have you, no one can have you. You're going to be, destroyed for all time. And that still happens. But the point is, that's like the underlying theme in every damn movie. The guy chases, and when he decides to quit is when the girl will chase him, and finally they get together, and then there'll be some problem that, drives them apart or keeps one from the other, or one gets kidnapped. I don't know. It's just the way it is. The other thing is how women are courted. I didn't realize how deeply that runs through some females' brains. Like, they really expect for the guy to give up their entire life to be all that the girl wants just to get the girl. But that's not real life, y'all. And that is one of those rules, those bullshit rules that we base our entire life on. Case in point, I got a couple clients, right? And they base romance or the idea of romance on things they've seen in the movies. Now, I've asked them, hey, do you see your parents do this stuff? Nope. Do you see other couples in your country do this stuff? Sometimes. Do you think it is logical or something that is okay to expect from the guy? And they're thinking, yeah, because it's in the movies. Hello, this is how people, win people back. I need flowers. I need you to grovel when you make a mistake. I want you to show me that you care by putting all your dreams and wishes and values and needs on a back burner to serve me. So I think I've given you a couple of really good examples of what the hell a Brule might be. But yo, seriously? We don't check our ideas and values and beliefs very often, if ever. But our goals are tied to those beliefs. Now, the reason I added the goals part in this is because while I was reading all of this, I also came across the quote by Tony Robbins that says, "Don't worry about the goals. Worry about becoming the kind of person who can achieve the goals that you've set." Like they always say, right? Make sure you set a goal and then you put a timeline on the goal so that you can make it real. You can bring it to fruition. You can bring it into this material world. But the other thing they also say is, fine, you set a goal. Don't ever change the goal itself. Maybe change the way you approach the goal, how you get to the goal, the path to it, whatever the timeline may be, but don't ever change the goal. You try, and whatever you try, if it works or doesn't work, you adjust accordingly, you keep on going, but you still go towards that goal. So I was intrigued by that comment, right? Don't adjust the goal, or don't worry about the goal. Worry about becoming the kind of person that can achieve that goal. And a lot of times that is what it is. But as you get to become that person, as you evolve, as you shed some things, as you try some things and find that, certain things don't work for you, but they might work for other people, you're going to have to address some of these rules that you're living with. A major rule that I've had to hit head on, and I'm still in the process of putting it aside, is the fact that I need to earn the money. And what does earn mean, though? I need to put aside a certain amount of time in order to collect the kind of money that I want to collect. But with coaching, with art, some of those things don't matter the same way. It's not a 1-for-1 like we used to think it was. I trade an hour, I get an hour's worth. What was that term? It was a decent day's wage for a decent day's work, or something like that. Something to that effect. I can't remember what the exact wording is, but you know what I mean. An honest day's work for an honest day's pay. That's what it was. An honest day's work for an honest day's pay. But guess what? The things that I do are honest as well. And it's not that I read it in a book today and I give it to you one-on-one right now. It's stuff that I've tried for years on end. And I think the best illustration that helped me understand that honest day's work and honest day's pay doesn't mean one-to-one, doesn't mean $15 an hour for the work that I do. Because sometimes it will go faster than that, sometimes it'll take longer than that. But the work is still the same. The effort that I put in is still the same. And the best illustration for me to really understand what that meant was I saw something about a story where a man asked a man, no, I don't know. The sex is not the important thing here. One person asked another person for a caricature of themselves. And the artist was very happy to oblige, and they did the caricature. And when it came time to pick up the caricature and pay, and I don't know why they didn't discuss this ahead of time, but they saw the picture, they were very pleased, they asked how much it was, and when the price was given, they thought it was a little exorbitant, and they didn't want to pay that. And they said, no, come on, man, I'm a friend of yours, why don't you give me a discount? I wasn't expecting to pay more than, and they named an amount which was far less than what the artist quoted initially. So the artist went back and he drew another caricature. So let's, for example, for shits and giggles, right? Let's say that the original price was $100. And when the guy said, no, I need a discount, he said, what can you give me for $20? The artist went back and he basically gave him a stick figure. No details, no shadows, no depth, no nothing. Why? The dude was like, what the are you serious? You really, this is what you're gonna hand me for $20? Nah, How come? I don't get it. You already did the one that I asked you for, why aren't you giving it for $20? And he said, look, what you're buying is not a piece of paper with some pencil markings on it. It's not the fact that it took me 20 minutes to draw. It's the fact that it took me 17 years of drawing over and over and over again and perfecting my technique and learning new techniques and trying different mediums and finding that caricature is what I do best. What you're paying me is for 17 years of experience, not the fact that it took me 20 minutes to do. See, what comes naturally to that artist now did not always come naturally to that artist. They put blood, sweat, and tears into that stuff, and it takes a lot of time to perfect your skills. They say it takes, 10,000 hours to become an expert? That's pretty much what he gave. He gave his life to his art, and so he is accomplished and can do those things that you're asking for, because honestly, if you were able to do them, you wouldn't be asking someone else to do them, right? So, it took me a while to wrap my head around the fact that what comes naturally to me doesn't come naturally to everybody else, because we're at different milestones in our life. I just happen to have lived through a lot of shit in 38 years. Some people have had a pretty decent life and are lucky enough to not have had to deal with some of the things that I've had to see. So of course they need my help, and it comes naturally to me because I've been testing this theory over and over again for a long time. Pro bono, of course. But now I feel like this is a necessary skill set and people don't know enough about this stuff. And yeah, sure, you can post a quote today and feel some kind of way about it right after you post the quote, but guess what? In a couple hours time, when the rest of your life catches up to you and you get silly comments from your friends or somebody posts a meme and it hits a nerve, you can go back to square one and fight yourself about it, or have a fight with someone else about it, and not be in that clear-headed space that you were once upon a time. All that takes skill. All that takes a system. And it depends on the Brules that you're telling yourself really, really mean something. But they're bullshit now because they no longer fit. That's what I mean by bullshit rule. They no longer fit. And you haven't even checked to see if it fits or not. You just keep wearing it. So, your Brules and your goals are related to each other. And sometimes, in order to become the person that will reach your goals, you got to examine your Brules and get rid of the ones that no longer fit. You got to ask yourself some tough questions. Why do you still believe this? Where did it come from? Who told you this was the only way to do things? And have you checked to see if there are other ways to do it? So, that's my rant for tonight. I think you know what I'm getting at. You need to check yourself. And checking yourself is the hardest thing in the world to do, because we have a high opinion of ourselves, don't we? Usually. Whether we admit it out loud or not, we usually have a high opinion of ourselves. And when we have to go look at our beliefs and find that some of our beliefs aren't that great or don't serve us anymore, it kind of feels like we've been operating in a lie for a while. It kind of feels like we're attacking ourselves or being attacked. And that's not the case. It's just time for you to man up again. It's time for you to level up. It's kind of like that feeling of leaving the top of the world when you're, in fifth grade elementary school and moving into middle school where you're at the bottom of the food chain all over again. Kind of hits you a little bit, right? I believe in you guys. I believe in change. And I believe that change doesn't have to be hard, but it also means you got to loosen your grip on who you think you are. So I love you guys, and I'll catch you again soon. Good night.